Lily stared out of her bedroom window as rain pattered against the glass, matching the tears that rolled down her cheeks. It had been exactly 1 year since her father's funeral, and the house that once felt like home now felt like a prison. "Lily, come downstairs right now." Her stepmother Diane's sharp voice cut through the silence. Lily wiped her tears and took a deep breath. She had learned that keeping Diane waiting only made things worse. As she descended the stairs, she noticed her stepmother sitting in the living room with a strange smile on her face, the kind that never reached her eyes. "Sit down," Diane ordered, pointing to the chair across from her. "We need to talk about your future." Lily sat down quietly. At 23, she had put her life on hold after her father's sudden heart attack. Her plans to finish college and start her own business had been sidelined by grief and the sudden change in her home life. "You've been moping around this house for too long," Diane said, examining her freshly manicured nails. "It's time you got married." Lily's head snapped up. "Married? But I'm not even dating anyone." Diane's smile widened. "That's been taken care of. I found someone for you." The room seemed to spin around Lily. Her father had only been gone a year, and already her stepmother was trying to marry her off. This couldn't be happening. "I don't understand," Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why would you do this?" "Because it's what's best for you," Diane replied, but her eyes told a different story. "You need to learn about the real world. You've been spoiled your entire life." Lily fought back tears. Her father had provided well for them, yes, but she had never been spoiled. She had worked part-time jobs since high school and volunteered at the local shelter every weekend. "Who is he?" Lily asked, dreading the answer. Diane stood up and walked to the window, looking out at their large garden. "He's that man who's always hanging around the neighborhood, the one in those worn-out clothes who reads books under the oak tree in the park." Lily knew exactly who she meant. She had noticed him many times, a quiet man who kept to himself, always with a book in hand. He seemed harmless, but Diane had repeatedly called him a beggar and complained to the neighborhood association about his presence. "You want me to marry a stranger from the park? That's insane." Lily's voice rose with disbelief. "Lower your voice," Diane snapped. "And yes, that's exactly what I want. Your father left this house to both of us, but the rest of his money is in a trust that you can only access when you get married. Once you're married, we can split it." The truth finally came out. This wasn't about Lily's future. It was about the money. After her father died, Diane had been frustrated to discover that she couldn't access his substantial savings. The house was only part of what he had left behind. "So that's what this is about," Lily said quietly. "The trust fund." "Don't act so surprised," Diane scoffed. "Where did you think we've been getting the money to maintain this lifestyle? My salary as a part-time real estate agent? The trust only releases a small amount for basic expenses. To get the full amount, you need to be married." Lily's mind raced. Her father had set up the trust to protect her, to ensure she would be taken care of, and that she would marry for love, not money. He never could have imagined this twisted scenario. "I won't do it," Lily said, standing up. "You can't force me to marry someone I don't know or love." Diane's expression hardened. "Actually, I can. Your father's will states that if you refuse to comply with the terms of the trust by your 25th birthday, everything goes to charity. You have 2 months left. And where will you go? You have no degree, no job, and no money of your own." The cold reality of her situation hit Lily like a wave. Her stepmother had been planning this for months, maybe even before her father died. She had systematically isolated Lily from her friends, convinced her to quit her part-time job to focus on healing, and discouraged her from returning to college. "This is wrong," Lily whispered, her hands trembling. "Life isn't fair," Diane replied coldly. "I've arranged for you to meet him tomorrow. Wear something nice. Though it probably won't matter to him. Beggars can't be choosers." She laughed at her own joke. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. Her room, once a sanctuary, now felt like a cell. She looked at the photos on her dresser, happy moments with her father. He had been so vibrant, so full of life, until the heart attack took him at just 52. After her mother died when she was 12, it had been just Lily and her dad against the world. They had been a team. Then Diane came along when Lily was 20 and everything changed. Her father seemed happy though, so Lily had kept her concerns to herself. Now she wondered if she should have spoken up. Had her father really known the woman he married? Or had Diane been waiting for this opportunity all along? As the first light of dawn filtered through her curtains, Lily made a decision. She would meet this man, but she wouldn't agree to anything. There had to be another way out of this situation. The next morning, Lily dressed simply in jeans and a sweater, ignoring Diane's suggestion to dress up. If this meeting was happening, it would be on her terms. "You could have made more of an effort," Diane commented when Lily came downstairs. "For a meeting I didn't ask for? With someone you've been calling a beggar for months?" Lily replied, finding a small spark of defiance. "I think I'm dressed just fine." Diane sighed dramatically. "Let's get this over with. He's meeting us at the cafe on Main Street." The drive to the cafe was silent and tense. Lily watched the familiar streets of her hometown pass by, wondering how her life had taken such a strange turn. The town she had grown up in now felt like a place she barely recognized. The cafe was busy with the morning rush when they arrived. Diane scanned the room, then pointed to a corner table. "There he is. Don't embarrass me." Lily followed her stepmother's gaze and saw the man she had noticed in the park many times. Up close she could see that his clothes, while simple, were clean and well kept, hardly the rags that Diane had described. He was reading a book, completely absorbed, and hadn't noticed their arrival. "Remember," Diane whispered harshly as they approached the table, "your father's legacy depends on this. Don't mess it up." The man looked up as they approached. His eyes, deep brown and thoughtful, met Lily's, and for a moment, she felt something unexpected, curiosity rather than fear. "Hello," he said, standing politely. His voice was deep and well-spoken, not at all what Lily had expected. "This is my stepdaughter Lily," Diane said with a fake sweetness that made Lily cringe. "Lily, this is—" She paused, clearly realizing she didn't know his name. "Devin," he supplied, extending his hand to Lily. "It's nice to meet you." As Lily shook his hand, she noticed calluses that spoke of hard work, but also the gentle way he held her hand, as if respecting her reluctance. "I'll leave you two to get acquainted," Diane said, already backing away. "I have some errands to run. Lily, I'll pick you up in an hour." Before Lily could protest, her stepmother was gone, leaving her alone with this stranger who was supposedly going to become her husband. "Would you like some coffee?" Devin asked, gesturing to the empty chair across from him. Lily sat down, feeling awkward and trapped. "Look, I should explain. My stepmother has this crazy idea that we should get married, but I've never even met you before today. I don't know what she told you, but this isn't normal." Devin's expression remained calm, but his eyes showed a flicker of surprise. She didn't explain much, just that her stepdaughter was looking for a husband and that I fit some criteria she had in mind. He paused, studying Lily's face. "Though I suspect her criteria might not be what you would choose for yourself." There was no judgment in his voice, just a quiet understanding that made Lily feel slightly less panicked. "This is all about my father's money," she admitted. "He left a trust that I can only access when I get married. My stepmother wants to get her hands on it." Devin nodded slowly. "And she chose me because she thinks you're—" Lily hesitated, embarrassed. "A beggar?" He finished for her, a small smile playing at his lips. "Yes, I've heard her call me that to her friends when they walk by me in the park." Lily's cheeks burned with shame. "I'm sorry, this is all so wrong." "Life often takes unexpected turns," Devin said, closing his book. "But we always have choices, even when it doesn't seem like it." For the first time in a year, Lily felt a tiny spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way out of the nightmare her life had become. The waitress brought over 2 cups of coffee, and Lily wrapped her hands around the warm mug, grateful for something to hold on to. She'd been thrown into this bizarre situation and didn't know what to make of the man sitting across from her. "So," Devon said, breaking the silence, "now that your stepmother is gone, maybe we can have an honest conversation." Lily nodded, studying him properly for the first time. His eyes were kind but shrewd, like someone who missed very little. His clothes were simple, a navy button-down shirt and dark jeans, but they were clean and fit him well. "I don't understand why you agreed to meet me," Lily said. "When a stranger asks you to marry their stepdaughter, most people would run the other way." Devon smiled slightly. "I was curious. And to be honest, I wanted to see what kind of person would send their stepdaughter to marry a man they consider beneath them." "That's Diane for you," Lily sighed. "Everything is about money and status with her. My father never saw that side of her, or maybe he did, but thought her other qualities made up for it." "Tell me about your father," Devon suggested, settling back in his chair. Lily hadn't expected that question. Most people avoided talking about the deceased, afraid of causing pain, but talking about her dad felt right. "He was the best person I've ever known," she said, a genuine smile crossing her face for the first time. "He built his business from nothing, a small construction company that grew because he treated everyone fairly. He taught me that real value isn't in what you own, but in what you build: relationships, trust, community." Devon nodded, his expression thoughtful. "He sounds like someone I would have liked to know." "What about you?" Lily asked, suddenly curious. "Diane has her own ideas about who you are, but I'd rather hear the truth." Devon took a sip of his coffee before answering. "I'm doing research for a project on urban community development. I spend time in different neighborhoods, observing, taking notes, occasionally talking to people. Your stepmother probably sees me writing in my notebook and assumes I'm some sort of vagrant." Lily felt embarrassed by her stepmother's assumptions. "I'm sorry about that. Diane judges everyone by their appearance and how much money she thinks they have." "Don't apologize for someone else's behavior," Devon said gently. "So, what do you want to do with your life, Lily? Before all this happened?" The question caught her off guard. It had been so long since anyone had asked about her dreams. "I was studying business and community development," she admitted. "I wanted to start a program to help small businesses in underserved neighborhoods get off the ground. My dad was going to help me set it up." Devon's eyes lit up with interest. "That's remarkably similar to my work. What made you interested in that field?" For the next hour, they talked about community development, small business incubators, and microloans. Lily found herself growing animated as she described her ideas, and Devon asked insightful questions that made her think more deeply about her plans. By the time Diane returned, Lily had almost forgotten the bizarre circumstances that had brought them together. "Well, don't you two look cozy?" Diane remarked, her tone suggesting she found this surprising and not entirely welcome. Lily noticed how Devon's expression changed subtly when her stepmother approached, becoming more guarded, less open. "We've had a pleasant conversation," he said diplomatically. "Wonderful," Diane replied, clearly not interested. "Lily, it's time to go. I have a dinner party to prepare for tonight." Lily hesitated, reluctant to end their conversation. "Can I have a moment to say goodbye?" Diane frowned but stepped away to wait near the door. "I'm sorry about all this," Lily said quietly to Devon. "You really don't have to go along with my stepmother's crazy plan." Devon reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. "Here's my number. Call me if you want to talk more about community development or anything else." The card was simple, with just his name and a phone number. No company, no title. Lily slipped it into her pocket before her stepmother could see. "Thank you," she said, feeling oddly grateful. On the drive home, Diane was unusually cheerful. "Well, he's not as rough as he looks from a distance. At least, he can hold a conversation." "What did you two talk about for so long?" "Just getting to know each other," Lily replied vaguely, unwilling to share the genuine connection she'd felt. Good," Diane nodded. "I've already spoken to my lawyer. We can have a simple ceremony next month. Nothing fancy, of course. That would be inappropriate given his situation. Just enough to make it legal so we can access the trust. Lily stared out the window, anger building inside her. I haven't agreed to marry him, Diane. One coffee doesn't equal a lifetime commitment. Don't be difficult, Lily, Diane snapped, her pleasant facade cracking. You know the situation. Either you marry by your 25th birthday, or the money goes to charity. Do you want to throw away your father's legacy? My father's legacy isn't about money, Lily said firmly. And I'm not sure he would approve of your methods. Diane's knuckles whitened as she gripped the steering wheel. Your father isn't here, and I'm trying to do what's best for both of us. That night, after Diane had gone to bed, Lily sat on her window seat looking at Devon's card. There was something about him that didn't fit with Diane's narrative. He was educated, thoughtful, articulate. Why would he agree to this strange arrangement? After a moment's hesitation, she texted him. This is Lily. I enjoyed talking with you today, despite the circumstances. His reply came quickly. Likewise. Would you like to meet again tomorrow, without your stepmother? Lily smiled in the darkness of her room. Yes. Where? The community garden on Pine Street. 10 a.m. I'll be there, she typed back. The next morning, Lily told Diane she was going to the library to look for job listings. It wasn't entirely a lie. She did plan to stop by the library after meeting Devon. The community garden was a small oasis, in the middle of the city, with raised beds full of vegetables and flowers. Devon was already there when she arrived, kneeling beside an elderly woman helping her weed a plot of tomato plants. He looked up and saw Lily, his face breaking into a warm smile that made her heart skip. He said something to the woman who patted his arm affectionately, and then he walked over to greet Lily. You came, he said, sounding genuinely pleased. I said I would, Lily replied. I see you're making friends. That's Mrs. Chen. She's teaching me about heirloom tomatoes. Apparently I've been growing the wrong varieties. Lily laughed. You garden? I try. Come on, I'll show you around. As they walked through the garden, Devon greeted several people by name. Children ran up to high-five him, and an older man called out to ask his advice about pepper plants. You seem to know everyone here, Lily observed, surprised by how connected he was to this community. I volunteer here 3 days a week, he explained. It started as research, but I discovered I enjoy getting my hands dirty. They stopped at a small plot at the far end of the garden. This is mine, he said, gesturing to neat rows of vegetables and herbs. Not much, but it's rewarding. Lily knelt down to look more closely. These look like the herbs my dad and I used to grow when I was little. He always said there was something magical about growing your own food. Your father sounds wiser by the minute, Devon said, kneeling beside her. Lily, can I ask you something? She nodded, curious. Why haven't you left? If your stepmother is treating you this way, why stay? The question hit a nerve. It's complicated. After my dad died, I was in such a fog of grief that I let Diane take control of everything. By the time I realized what was happening, she had sold my car, convinced me to quit my job to heal, and I had missed so many classes that I had to withdraw from college. She manages all the household accounts, and the small allowance I get from the trust barely covers basics. She plucked a leaf of basil, rubbing it between her fingers to release its scent. But honestly, the house is the last place I have memories of my dad. Leaving feels like losing him all over again. Devon was quiet for a moment. I understand that. But sometimes holding on to physical places keeps us from moving forward with the lessons people left us. Maybe, Lily admitted. But where would I go? What would I do? You'd be surprised what you can do when you have to, he said, his voice gentle but firm. You're smart, educated, and you have a passion for community development. Those are valuable qualities. As they continued walking, Lily noticed something odd. Your hands, she said, pointing to the calluses and tiny scars. Those don't come from occasional gardening. Devon looked down at his hands and smiled. No, they don't. I worked construction through college and graduate school. Old habits die hard. I still pick up work when projects need extra hands. Construction? Lily repeated, thinking of her father. What kind? Everything from residential remodels to commercial projects. I like seeing how things come together, how spaces transform. They spent the rest of the morning talking and working. Side by side in the garden, Lily found herself laughing more than she had in months. The weight of her situation temporarily lifted. As they were saying goodbye, Devon hesitated. About your stepmother's plan? I know it's crazy, Lily said quickly. You don't have to. Actually, he interrupted, I was thinking maybe we should play along for now. Lily stared at him in confusion. What? Why would you agree to that? Because it gives you time, he said simply. Time to figure out what you really want to do without the pressure of her immediate demands. And he paused, looking slightly embarrassed. I enjoy your company. I'd like the chance to get to know you better, under whatever circumstances. Lily didn't know what to say. There was logic to his suggestion, but also an unexpected warmth in his eyes that made her wonder if there was more to his offer than practical considerations. I'll think about it, she promised, and found herself looking forward to seeing him again despite everything. As she walked away, Lily realized something had shifted inside her. For the first time since her father died, she felt a spark of hope and the beginning of a plan. Over the next 2 weeks, Lily found every excuse to leave the house. Diane, believing her stepdaughter was finally cooperating with the marriage plan, didn't question her frequent absences. Little did she know that Lily and Devon were spending almost every day together, getting to know each other far beyond the charade Diane had orchestrated. They had fallen into an easy routine. Mornings at the community garden, afternoons exploring, different neighborhoods where Devon was conducting his research, and occasional lunches at small cafes where they wouldn't run into anyone Diane knew. Today they sat on a bench in the park, sharing a bag of cherries and watching children play. On the swings. My birthday is in 6 weeks, Lily said, breaking a comfortable silence. Diane's getting more insistent about setting a wedding date. Devon nodded thoughtfully. What do you want to do? I don't know, Lily admitted. Part of me wants to walk, away from everything, the house, the money, Diane. But another part feels like I'd be letting my dad down. He worked so hard to build that legacy. What would he want for you? Devon asked. If he could see you now, what advice would he give? Lily closed her eyes, picturing her father's face. He'd tell me to follow my heart but use my head. That's what he always said when I had to make a tough decision. Sounds like a wise man, Devon said softly. He was, Lily agreed. You know, you remind me of him sometimes. The way you listen, how you think about problems from all angles. Devon looked, pleased but slightly uncomfortable with the comparison. I should tell you something, he said after a moment. I haven't been completely honest about my research project. Lily felt a twinge of unease. What do you mean? It's not just academic research. I'm evaluating neighborhoods for potential investment, community-based projects that would preserve the character of the area while creating jobs and affordable housing. That sounds amazing, Lily said, relieved that his secret wasn't something worse. But why keep that quiet? Devon shrugged. In my experience, when people hear investment, they immediately think gentrification. I prefer to learn about a community first before they know I might have resources to offer. Lily nodded, understanding his approach. But something wasn't adding up. If you're involved in real estate investment, why does my stepmother think you're... She trailed off, embarrassed. A beggar? Devon finished with a wry smile. Because I don't drive a fancy car or wear expensive clothes. I believe in living simply and investing in people rather than appearances. Plus, he added with a mischievous glint in his eye, it's interesting to see how people treat you when they think you have nothing to offer them. Lily thought about that for a moment. Like a test of character. Exactly. He picked up another cherry. Your stepmother failed that test spectacularly, by the way. They both laughed, and Lily felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the summer sun. Over these past weeks, she'd come to admire Devon's intelligence, his kindness, and his quiet confidence. There was an ease between them that she'd never experienced with anyone else. "Would you like to see one of my completed projects?" Devin asked suddenly. "It's about 20 minutes from here." "I'd love to," Lily replied, curious to see his work. They walked to a nearby bus stop, and Lily noticed how Devin greeted the bus driver by name. He seemed to know everyone in the service industry, cashiers, cleaners, security guards, treating each with the same respect he showed to the business owners and professionals they encountered. The bus took them to a part of the city Lily had rarely visited, an area that had once been industrial but was now in transition. They got off near a renovated warehouse with large windows and a sign that read, "Riverside Community Hub." "This is one of mine," Devin said, a hint of pride in his voice. Inside, the building had been transformed into a beautiful multi-use space. The ground floor housed a cafe, a small grocery store selling local produce, and a community meeting area where a group of teenagers was setting up for what looked like an art show. The upper floors, Devin explained, contained affordable apartments and small office spaces for startup businesses. "This is incredible," Lily said, turning in a slow circle to take it all in. "How did you make this happen?" "It takes a team," Devin replied, "and funding partners who believe in sustainable development." As they walked through the building, several people stopped to greet Devin warmly. A middle-aged woman in a chef's coat hurried over from the cafe. "There you are," she exclaimed. "I was hoping you'd stop by this week. The new oven is a game changer. Our bread sales have doubled." "That's fantastic, Rosa," Devin said, giving her a quick hug. "This is my friend Lily." A special friend?" Rosa asked with a knowing smile, looking between them. Lily felt herself blush as Devin simply smiled and changed the subject, asking about Rosa's children. After they'd toured the entire building, they sat in the cafe with cups of Rosa's homemade lemonade. "You didn't just invest in this place," Lily observed. "You built relationships with everyone here." Devin nodded. "That's the whole point. Buildings are just structures. Communities are about people." A man in a tailored suit approached their table, his hand extended toward Devin. "Mr. Richardson, I thought that was you. I've been trying to reach you about the West Side project." Lily noticed Devin stiffen slightly before standing to shake the man's hand. "Tom, good to see you. This is Lily. Lily, this is Tom Chen, a commercial real estate developer." Tom turned to Lily with a practiced smile. "Nice to meet you. Are you part of the Richardson Foundation team as well?" Before Lily could respond, Devin smoothly interjected, "Lily has her own expertise in community development. We're collaborating on some ideas." After a brief conversation about zoning regulations, Tom excused himself, saying he'd email Devin about setting up a proper meeting. When he was gone, Lily raised an eyebrow. "Richardson Foundation? And he called you Mr. Richardson?" Devin sighed, looking slightly uncomfortable. "My full name is Devin Richardson Hughes. The Richardson Foundation is my family's charitable organization." Lily's mouth fell open. "Richardson? As in Richardson Enterprises, the development company that built half the skyline downtown?" Devin nodded reluctantly. "My grandfather started the company. My father expanded it. I run the foundation side of things, focusing on community-based projects." Lily sat back in her chair trying to process this information. Richardson Enterprises was one of the largest development companies in the state. They owned shopping centers, office buildings, luxury condos, property worth billions. "Your family is," she started. "Wealthy," Devin finished simply. "Yes. And my stepmother thinks you're a beggar," Lily said, a bubble of laughter rising in her throat at the absurdity of it all. "I never corrected her assumption," Devin admitted. "Why didn't you tell me?" Lily asked, feeling slightly betrayed despite the humor of the situation. Devin's expression grew serious. "Because for once I wanted someone to get to know me, just me, not my family name or bank account. When people find out about my background, everything changes. They either want something from me or treat me differently." Lily thought about that and realized she understood. Hadn't she experienced something similar after her father died? Friends and acquaintances looking at her differently, some disappearing altogether, others suddenly more interested in her life when they heard about the trust fund. "I get it," she said softly. But no more secrets, okay? Devin reached across the table and took her hand. No more secrets, though I'm a little curious to see your stepmother's face when she finds out. The mention of Diane brought Lily back to reality. She'll try to take advantage of this somehow. She's probably already planning how to get her hands on my trust fund once we're married. A shadow crossed Devin's face. About that, I have a confession to make. I've been looking into your father's company and the terms of his will. You what? Lily pulled her hand away, shocked. Why would you do that? Because something didn't add up, Devin explained calmly. The way your stepmother is so desperate to get you married, the control she has over your finances, it made me suspicious. And? Lily asked, not sure if she wanted to hear the answer. And I think she's been lying to you, Devin said gently. I have a friend who works at the probate court. He couldn't give me details, but he confirmed that there are unusual clauses in your father's will that don't match what your stepmother has told you. Lily felt as if the floor had dropped away beneath her. What are you saying? I'm saying we need to see the actual will, not just take Diane's word for what it contains. Would you be willing to visit the probate court with me tomorrow? Lily nodded slowly, her mind racing. What if everything Diane had told her was a lie? What if the pressure to get married, the rush to access the trust, what if it was all based on deception? One more thing, Devin said, his expression serious. If what I suspect is true, your stepmother may have been mismanaging the trust funds she does have access to. We should be prepared for her to react badly when she realizes we're investigating. Lily took a deep breath, feeling a strange mix of anxiety and determination. Then we'd better have a plan because I'm done letting Diane control my life. As they left the community hub, Lily glanced back at the building, at what could be, accomplished with vision, resources, and genuine care for a community. For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of purpose stirring within her. Whatever happened with Diane and the will, Lily knew her life was about to change dramatically. Lily barely slept that night. Her mind kept spinning with questions about her father's will and what Diane might have been hiding all this time. By morning, she was exhausted but determined to uncover the truth. She told Diane she was going job hunting again, a lie that had become easier to tell with practice. Diane merely nodded, too busy planning what she called a modest engagement party, to pay much attention to Lily's comings and goings. Devin was waiting for her outside the probate court, looking more formal than Lily had ever seen him in a crisp, button-down shirt and dark pants. His usually casual demeanor was replaced by something more serious. Are you ready for this? He asked as she approached. Lily took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. Inside, they met with a clerk, who initially seemed reluctant to help them until Devin mentioned his family name. The atmosphere changed immediately, and they were ushered into a small conference room where they waited for copies of William Miller's will to be brought to them. Does that happen often? Lily asked, nodding toward the door where the suddenly helpful clerk had disappeared. Devin looked uncomfortable, more than I'd like. It's one of the reasons I try to keep a low profile. Before Lily could respond, the clerk returned with a thick folder. Here's everything related to William Miller's estate, he said, placing it on the table. Take your time. Let me know if you need anything else, Mr. Richardson Hughes. When they were alone, Lily stared at the folder, suddenly afraid to open it. What if we're wrong? What if Diane was telling the truth all along? Devin placed his hand over hers. Then at least you'll know. But whatever's in there, you're not alone. His words gave her courage. With trembling fingers, Lily opened the folder and began to read through the legal documents. At first, the formal language was confusing, but as she continued, certain clauses stood out with painful clarity. Oh my God, she whispered, her voice shaking. It was all lies. Devin moved his chair closer to read over her shoulder. What does it say? The trust doesn't require me to be married at all, Lily said, anger building inside her. I get full control when I turn 25, regardless of my marital status. And look at this. She pointed to another paragraph. Diane only gets a small allowance from the estate. The house was left to me entirely, not both of us. There's more, Devon said grimly, turning a page. This is a financial summary. According to this, your father left specific instructions for funding your education. There should have been plenty of money for you to continue college after he died. Lily felt as if she'd been punched in the stomach. All this time, she could have been finishing her degree, pursuing her dreams. Instead, Diane had convinced her they needed to be careful with money, that expensive things like college tuition would have to wait. She lied about everything, Lily said, tears of anger forming in her eyes. She made me believe I was dependent on her, that I needed her permission for everything. Why would she do this? Devon pointed to another clause in the will. Because of this. If you were to die before turning 25, everything goes to Diane. But if you're alive and take control of the trust, her allowance is reviewed annually by the trustees. The implications were chilling. You think she was hoping I'd marry someone she thought was poor, give her access to my money, and then what, just disappear? I don't know, Devon admitted. But we need to be careful. People who lie about money are often capable of more than you'd expect. They spent the next hour making copies of the most important documents. Lily could feel her shock turning to determination with each page they examined. By the time they left the courthouse, she had a plan. I need to confront her, Lily said as they walked to Devon's car. Today, before she has time to cover her tracks or come up with more lies. Devon looked concerned. I don't think you should face her alone. I won't, Lily said firmly. You're coming with me. They drove to Lily's house in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. When they arrived, Diane's car was in the driveway along with another vehicle Lily didn't recognize. She has company, Lily said, suddenly nervous. We can come back later, Devon suggested. Lily shook her head. No. I've waited long enough for the truth. They walked to the front door, and Lily used her key to open it. Voices came from the living room, Diane's and a man's, discussing something in hushed tones that stopped abruptly when the front door closed. Lily, is that you? Diane called out, sounding oddly nervous. Yes, Lily replied, walking toward the living room with Devon close behind. And I've brought someone with me. They entered the room to find Diane sitting with a balding man in an expensive suit, who Lily recognized as her stepmother's lawyer, Harold Fenton. Diane's eyes widened when she saw Devon, but she quickly composed herself. Oh, how nice. We were just discussing the prenuptial agreement. She looked Devon up and down with obvious disdain. Harold, this is Lily's fiancé. The lawyer looked uncomfortable, glancing between Devon and Diane with a confused expression. Actually, Lily said, stepping forward and placing the folder on the coffee table. We're here to discuss my father's will. Diane's face paled. What do you mean? We've already discussed all that. No, Lily corrected her. You told me what you wanted me to believe. I've just come from the probate court where I read the actual will. You had no right, Diane began, but Harold interrupted her. Miss Miller had every right to examine her father's will, he said, his professional demeanor cracking slightly. It's a matter of public record. Diane shot him a venomous look before turning back to Lily with a forced smile. Darling, I know legal documents can be confusing. Why don't we discuss this later, in private? There's nothing to discuss, Lily said coldly. You lied to me about the marriage requirement, about the house, about my education fund, everything. I was trying to protect you, Diane insisted, her voice taking on a pleading quality that Lily had never heard before. You were so grief-stricken after your father died. I didn't want you worrying about money on top of everything else. That's not true, Lily replied, her voice steady despite the anger churning inside her. You wanted control of my inheritance. You've been stealing from me for a year. Stealing is a very serious accusation, Harold interjected, looking increasingly uncomfortable. Ms. Green, if there's been some misunderstanding about the terms of the trust, there's no misunderstanding. Devon spoke for the first time, his deep voice commanding attention. "We have copies of all the financial statements. Funds designated for Lily's education were diverted to other accounts." "That's fraud." Diane's eyes narrowed as she focused on Devon. "And who exactly are you to make such accusations? Some vagrant who thinks he's hit the jackpot by courting a grieving girl?" Devon smiled slightly. "Devon Richardson Hughes, of Richardson Enterprises." The effect of his words was immediate. Diane's mouth fell open, and Harold made a choking sound. "Richardson," Diane repeated weakly. "As in, yes, that Richardson family," Devon confirmed. "I've already asked my company's legal team to review the management of Lily's trust. They'll be in touch, Mr. Fenton." Harold stood abruptly, gathering his papers. "I think I should review my notes on this matter. Mrs. Green, I'll call you tomorrow." "Harold, don't you dare leave," Diane hissed. But the lawyer was already heading for the door, avoiding eye contact with everyone. When they were alone, Diane's demeanor changed completely. The pleasant mask dropped away, revealing cold fury. "You ungrateful little brat," she spat at Lily. "After everything I've done for you, your father would be ashamed." "My father would be heartbroken to see what you've done," Lily replied, feeling strangely calm in the face of Diane's rage. "You never loved him. You just wanted his money. And what about you?" Diane turned on Devon. "Playing at being poor, deceiving me. Was that some kind of sick game?" "I never claimed to be anything," Devon said calmly. "You made assumptions based on appearances, which says more about you than me." Diane looked between them, calculation replacing anger in her eyes. "Fine. You've had your little moment of triumph. But let's be reasonable. We're family, Lily. We can work this out without lawyers and accusations." "We're not family," Lily said firmly. "And there's nothing to work out. I want you out of my house by tomorrow." "Your house?" Diane laughed, but there was a desperate edge to it. "You can't prove anything. It will be your word against mine." "Actually," Devon said, pulling out his phone, "we have recordings of several trustees confirming they were told you had power of attorney for Lily. Documents you forged, from what we can tell." It was a bluff. They had no such recordings, but Diane's face told them they'd hit close to the mark. "You're making a mistake," Diane said, her voice dropping to a threatening whisper. "You have no idea what I'm capable of." "Actually, I think we do," Lily replied. "But it's over, Diane. Whatever you're planning, whatever you thought would happen, it's done. If you're not out of this house by tomorrow, I'll go to the police with everything we've found." For a moment, Lily thought Diane might lunge at her, but instead, her stepmother gathered her composure and walked to the door. "This isn't over," she said, pausing in the doorway. "Enjoy your victory while it lasts." When the door slammed behind her, Lily's legs gave way and she sank onto the sofa, shaking with adrenaline and relief. Devon sat beside her, taking her hand. "Are you okay?" "I don't know," Lily admitted. "I'm angry and sad and relieved all at once and a little scared." She didn't seem ready to give up. "She won't hurt you," Devon promised. "I'll make sure of it." Lily looked at him, seeing determination in his eyes. "Why are you doing all this for me? We barely know each other." Devon was quiet for a moment. "At first I was just curious, then I was concerned, and now—" He squeezed her hand gently. "Now, I care about what happens to you. More than I expected to." The simple honesty of his words touched Lily deeply. Despite everything that had happened, despite the betrayal and lies, she found herself smiling. "I care about you too," she said softly. "And I don't know what happens next, but I'm glad you're here with me." Outside, thunder rumbled in the distance, promising a storm. But inside, for the first time in her father's house since his death, Lily felt safe, protected, and strangely hopeful about the future. The next morning, Lily woke early after a restless night. Every creak of the old house had made her wonder if Diane was returning, despite Devon's insistence on staying in the guest room to ensure her safety. She found him in the kitchen, making coffee, and looking surprisingly at home. "You're up early," he said, sliding a mug toward her. "Didn't sleep much." Lily admitted, wrapping her hands around the warm cup. Do you think she'll really leave? Devon considered the question. I think she'll do whatever she believes is in her best interest. Right now, that probably means appearing to cooperate while she figures out her next move. Lily nodded, knowing he was right. Diane wasn't the type to accept defeat easily. I called a locksmith, Devon added. They'll be here at 9 to change all the locks, and I've spoken with my family's security company. They'll install a system this afternoon. You don't think that's overkill? Lily asked, though she felt relieved at the precautions. After what she's done, I'm not taking any chances with your safety, Devon replied seriously. Then his expression softened. What do you want to do about your father's company? Lily had been thinking about this since their discovery at the probate court. I want to understand it better. Dad always talked about his business, but I never really got involved. I was too focused on my own plans. Those plans can still happen, Devon reminded her. Your education fund is intact, even if Diane tried to hide it from you. I know, Lily said, a small smile forming. I've been thinking about that too. Maybe I can finish my degree and still learn about Dad's company, combine my ideas with his legacy somehow. Before Devon could respond, the doorbell rang. They exchanged a glance, both wondering if it was Diane. I'll get it, Devon said, his voice gentle but firm. Lily followed him to the hallway, staying back as he opened the front door. Instead of Diane, they found an older man in a tailored suit, his silver hair neatly combed and his expression serious. Good morning, he said formally. I'm looking for Lily Miller. That's me, Lily said, stepping forward. Who are you? Walter Jenkins, senior partner at Jenkins & Associates. I was your father's attorney for 20 years. He looked at Devon with surprise. Mr. Richardson Hughes, I didn't expect to find you here. Devon extended his hand. Mr. Jenkins, it's been a while. You two know each other? Lily asked, confused. Our families have done business together for years, Walter explained. May I come in? There are matters we need to discuss regarding your father's estate. Over the next hour, Walter explained what had really been happening since William Miller's death. Diane had intercepted communications from the law firm, forged Lily's signature on documents, and misrepresented her authority to the trustees. When Mr. Richardson Hughes contacted our office yesterday with concerns, we immediately began an investigation, Walter said, looking genuinely distressed. I must apologize, Ms. Miller. We should have insisted on meeting with you directly after your father's passing. It's not your fault, Lily said, though part of her wished someone had seen through Diane's deception sooner. What happens now? First, we've frozen all accounts that Mrs. Green had access to, Walter explained. We've also filed a petition with the court to remove her as a beneficiary of the trust, based on evidence of fraud. Will she face criminal charges? Devon asked. Walter sighed. That's up to Lily. We have enough evidence for a case, but prosecuting a family member is a difficult decision. Lily thought about it. Part of her wanted Diane to pay for what she'd done, but another part just wanted to move forward with her life. I need time to think about that, she said finally. For now, I just want her out of my life.